Hello, welcome back everybody to the Daily Cooking Show, to the Daily Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful day today. I hope you're all having a beautiful Sunday. If you're watching this live, it is currently 5 p.m. EDT, and I see that we have all of my lovely sous chefs in the chat. Hello to Shy Chica, hello to Trash Can Cat Mom, hello to Iliam. Welcome on in. I also saw that we had Zlo the Meekin a little bit earlier and a few names that I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting about. Welcome on in, Ugabin, as well. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Howdy, howdy. We're going to have a really simple stream today. Nothing is going to be super far out of our wheelhouse. We're going to have something tasty and something above all else that uses up a bunch of leftovers today. So maybe not the most exciting stream, maybe not the most exciting or glamorous food that we're going to make by the end of this, but at the end of the day, it is practical. Also, welcome in Trans Cat Girl. It's lovely to have you. Howdy, howdy. So this is all about practical cooking, my friends. It's still going to be delicious. It's still going to be something that is really craveable. But at the end of the day, my goal is to use up all of my existing produce that I had sitting around. And so what better way to use up existing produce than with a really beautiful vegetable soup, my friends. Vegetable soups are such a nice way of using up an assortment of different vegetables that might be towards the end of their shelf lives, right? You want to go ahead and use them before they get so bad that you have to throw them away. And so that's exactly what we'll be doing today. Specifically, the one leftover that I wanted to get rid of was my broccoli, my friends, because I have an excess amount of broccoli stems. And so I want to do this vegetable soup as a way of using up these broccoli stems. I don't particularly like all of the different preparations of broccoli stems. I don't love the texture as much. But what it does lend itself exceptionally well to, my friends, is blending. And so this is going to be a blended soup today. So not quite like a broccoli cheddar soup. It's still going to be blended. It's going to be nice and creamy. It's going to be nice and smooth. But the reason why I have specifically chosen this kind of a blended vegetable soup is to use up my broccoli stems, my friends. They're nutritious, they have a lot of flavor. I just don't really love the texture of the stems if you were just to chop them up and saute them or something. So we have a bunch of broccoli. We have some broccoli stems that is going to get blended into the soup today. And that was my primary goal. That was my primary vision. I wanted to use it up before it went bad. Next, I have some kale that's going to get chopped in and added into the stew as well. And that's just for a little bit of extra bite, just to get that really, really nice crispy leafy bite. Then, my friends, we have 2 potatoes. I have 2 gold potatoes. One of them is going to get chopped up into cubes, and one of them is going to get blended into the soup. And that's going to really help give it some viscosity, my friends. So, potato, kale, broccoli. Last but not least, we have a whole Vidalia onion, which we're going to be cutting up, and that's all going to get blended into the soup as well. And last but not least, my friends, we have some garlic. Also, Moonha, thank you so much for the subscription. I believe that was from Dosky, though, technically, but thank you, thank you. Everybody, we have a bunch of garlic because you can't have a vegetable stew without a bunch of garlic. And this is going to go both into the stew, as well as into the garlic rolls. So let's talk about that really quickly. Come back here. I have a product that I love. I love King's Hawaiian rolls. I love how cakey they are. I love how sweet they are. I love how fluffy and soft they are. And so we're going to be doing garlic rolls. We're going to be basically making a garlic bread out of them. Super simple. It's going to be some butter. It's going to be some dill. It's going to be some garlic. And it's going to bake with it. It's going to basically have a second bake. And it'll be something really delicious to be able to eat the soup with. So it'll be nice and pungent, nice and flavorful, with like this really delicious, creamy, rich stew. So, pack of Hawaiian rolls. But the fundamentals and the techniques I'm going to show you here, my friends, all of it will be applicable for any other kind of bread if you wanted to use it up to make some garlic bread. Making garlic bread is a very nice way of using up a bunch of excess bread that you might have lying around. And so that's what my Hawaiian rolls will be used for. Go ahead and set that down behind me. Next, I have some frozen peas that I had left over from before, so that's going to go into the soup as well. Additionally, my friends, we have some fresh dill. The dill is going to go into the garlic bread. The dill is also going to go into the soup. It's going to go into the stock. Next, I have this leftover frozen chicken carcass. Everybody, remember when I said the best part about buying whole chickens is the byproduct? It is all the bones that you get at the end of the day. Well, it's because we get to take those bones and make them into a really delicious stock. So these are just some chicken bones. This is my chicken backbone specifically, and this is going to be going towards a homemade chicken stock, my friends, as the basis for the soup. You could theoretically just use water for a vegetable soup like this, but because I have the bones, I'm gonna go through with the process. I'm gonna make that chicken stock, and it's gonna be delicious. Okay? I also have some white wine. fine. And last but not least, my friends, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about some of the spices for today. For my garlic bread, we'll be doing a combination of garlic powder and also fresh garlic because it gives you the biggest range, the biggest spectrum that is, and all the different flavors that you can get out of garlic. Next, I have some cayenne and paprika to go into the soup, just to go ahead and give it a little bit of extra heat. Then I have some bay leaves, I have some sage leaves as well, and last but not least, my friends, we have some oregano and coriander seeds. And so I just wanted a very nice herbaceous mixture to go into the soup to give it some really good flavor and to make it really, really nice and aromatic with all of our vegetables. So that being said, here's what we have to get done today. We have to begin making a homemade chicken stock. So I'll be walking you through the process on how to do that, and I'll show you how easy that is to do in a home setting. After that, we have to do all the vegetable prep for the soup. We have to saute the onions, we have to prep the broccoli, we have to chop the kale, so on and so forth. After all of that happens, we're going to be making the garlic bread, my friends, which is just going to be some softened butter mixed in with some garlic powder, mixed in with some fresh garlic as well. And then that's going to get spread on, and then it's going to bake. So that's all the different stuff that we need to get done for today. Is everybody ready? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please, and thank you. Bay leaves are some of my favorite secret weapons. Ron, yeah, I love bay leaves. I love how aromatic they are. I love how tasty they are, especially in something like a chicken stock. And so, everybody, a little bit of housekeeping really quickly. If at any point you have any cooking questions, you can always ask me. If you would like a full list of all the different things that we're making today, you can always type an exclamation mark menu, and that'll have all the different ingredients. And then, what was the third thing? Oh yeah, Patreon, exclamation mark Patreon, if you would like a nice way of directly supporting the show, just as Trash Can Cat Mom has displayed for us in the chat. So, it is time for us to begin. We need to make the chicken stock because the chicken stock is going to be the basis of my vegetable soup today. Again, you could make this soup entirely vegan. You could forego the chicken stock. You could use a vegetable stock. You can use whatever you have lying around. A mushroom stock in this would also be excellent. But in my case, my friends, it's all going to start off with a big old pressure cooker pot. Now, when it comes to making homemade stocks, I will continuously advocate for a pressure cooker over and over and over again. And let me explain to you why. Pressure cookers get it done fast. They get it done in a realistic amount of time in a home setting. You want your chicken stock to not necessarily take 3 to 4 hours, especially if you're trying to get it all done at once. And so, that is why I use a pressure cooker. Not to sound like a big advertisement for a pressure cooker, but it's just a very nice way of being able to get into the habit of making homemade stocks. Everybody, going from box stocks to homemade stocks dramatically improves the quality of the food that you make. It comes out richer, it comes out more flavorful, and it's such a nice way of using up existing leftovers that you may have. So, speaking of which, my chicken bones. I have my chicken carcass that was left over from Friday's stream. Okay, and all that I'm gonna go ahead and do, I have about a quart of water inside. I'm just gonna go ahead and get that transferred over and into the pot. So, just gonna get that done really quickly. Come on, it's a little stuck to the bag, unfortunately, trying my best to get it out of there. Excellent. So much less salt too? Yeah. So I will say though, a lot of the higher like sodium chicken broths, especially we're talking about like the instant ones, I don't particularly mind that. I don't particularly mind an aggressive amount of sodium. I don't mind an aggressive amount of salt. So for me, that's never been particularly the issue. It's more about the fact that it doesn't actually have a lot of flavor. It doesn't have a lot of it doesn't have a lot of gelatin inside of it. It doesn't have as much aroma. And oftentimes the canned and the boxed chicken stocks, those are the ones that just kind of tend to smell like they're boxed and canned. So it's not as much about the sodium as much as it is about all the other flavors going on inside of it. Okay, so all that we have in the pot so far, everybody, is my chicken bones. And again, my goal is I want to get you all into the habit of making your own chicken stocks. I want to get you all into the habit of making your own vegetable and beef stocks. And one of the best ways to do it consistently in a home setting is with the help of a pressure cooker. Okay? Having that supply of bones that you want to use up in your freezer, such a good way of using it up without necessarily wasting it. Okay? I want to get you onto the habit. I want to get you onto the routine because it really does elevate your cooking that much more. So, chicken bones inside, but a chicken stock is not going to be complete with just chicken bones. So we can go ahead and do a little bit of vegetable prep. So, another reason why you should be making your own homemade chicken stocks is it's a really nice way of using up some vegetable scraps, right? Because instead of putting in an entire onion, we could just use all the parts of the onion that we would otherwise throw away. So I have this lovely Vidalia onion. Okay, all I'm going to do is we're just going to get it ready for later. I'm going to simply cut the head off. And now that we've cut the head off, my friends, all that we can go ahead and do is just take it. We're going to peel off the top few layers of skin because it has some dirt trapped under them sometimes. Okay, just pop that off. And then also we'll cut off this little bit of skin here. And now, instead of tossing away these onion scraps, we can simply get them into the pot. And my friends, you cannot have a chicken stock without some component of allium, either red onions or leeks or shallots or anything that you want, but you have to have some sort of allium inside of it because it makes it so sweet, it makes it really aromatic, and it makes it really delicious. Okay, so all that I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna go ahead and peel it back. The top layer of the skin is going to end up getting thrown away, the most papery of the layers, and then this part that's the most fleshy is going to go back into the stock, my friends. Okay, so peeling it up, and we're just gonna get rid of the topmost layer of skin, the super papery skin that is. Come on, off you go, thank you. And now I'm gonna go ahead and get these onion scraps into the pot as well, my friends. So in it goes. Excellent. Next, we have some more vegetable scraps that we could use up in the meantime, specifically my dill stems. Now, when it comes to fresh herbs, when it comes to dill, when it comes to cilantro, when it comes to parsley, the stems often get discarded, right? Because they don't have necessarily the best texture to just eat as it is. So, in my case, I'm going to be using all of the stems in the stock itself because the stems have a lot of flavor to contribute. They just don't necessarily have the best texture. So, I'm going through my dill. I'm going to pluck off all the fronds, my friends. I'm going to pluck them off. I'm going to get them out of here. Pluck them off, pluck them off, pluck them off. And then all of the stems we're going to be saving and using inside of the final chicken stock. Does anybody have any questions for me at this moment in time? Okay, so there you go, stems, and we're just gonna pluck them. We're gonna pluck them, and we're going to use up every single last bit of this dill, my friends. None of it will end up going to waste. I love dill, I love using it in soups. It's really, really like an herb that I grew up with being Russian. And so, I love it just being spammed all over the place, essentially. I was born when those onions were grown. The town mascot is a walking onion. I don't know where Vidalia is. In fact, I was pretty sure there's a place. I was pretty confident in that. But I don't know where Vidalia onions are actually specifically grown in. So yeah, just processing the dough. How's everybody's days going otherwise? We don't have much to talk about while we do this. It'll be a bit of a repetitive motion. For the time being, at least. Pluck a few of those fronds. Georgia, the state? I see. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I saw a video at some point where somebody's like, oh, I'm in Georgia, and these are where Vidalia onions are grown. But yeah, Vidalia onions, they're generally considered to be like the standard of onions. And that's just because Vidalia onions, they get associated with being the sweetest. They tend to be a little bit flat, right? They tend to be flatter and wider, and not as like bulbous, for instance, as a Spanish onion. Chill Sunday, chef, how about you? I'm doing well. It's also been a pretty chill Sunday for me. I woke up, I got the groceries for today's stream, got ready for the show, put away a few dishes, and that was about it. So not a whole lot going on with me, but thank you for asking. Yeah. And so, really, again, the ultimate goal of today, I just wanted a nice, delicious, hearty vegetable soup. I'm trying to continue to find like protein sources, especially from like the peas, that aren't always meat-based, even though we are using the chicken stock. My goal is, I guess, to end up reducing the amount of meat intake that I have. Hi, Kaze. Bye, Kaze. Hope you're having a good day today. I'm doing well. Okay, so plucking off all of my dill, plucking it off. And because this is a carbon steel knife, I should probably give that a wash in just a second. Yeah, that's right. Kaze, in and out, had places to go, had places to be. All right, almost done. A little bit more dill to go. and we'll go ahead and get that thrown into the pressure cooker pot as well. So again, if I've not convinced you on making your own homemade chicken stocks yet, remember, it's going to be more affordable buying whole chickens, meat-wise, right? Because you get the byproduct that is all the bones, and you get to make a product that is much more dense and much more rich and much more flavorful than store-bought canned chicken stocks. Okay, so super, super important. I really want to get you all into the habit of doing this. A little bit more dill that I could probably pluck off some stems. Okay, also Taza, welcome on in. I hope you're having an excellent day today. Okay, and I think this might be my last little thing of dill before I can decide with confidence that we've gotten all of the stems. Okay, beautiful. All of my dill ready to go for later today. All of my stems will now go inside of the stock pot. Again, the goal is to use up all of these ingredients, my friends. The goal is to use up all the produce without necessarily wasting anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my dill back onto my bowl. It's gonna be chopped up later. It's going to go both into the garlic rolls as well as into the soup itself as a garnish. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and give my knife a quick little rinse because this is a carbon steel knife. The knives that you typically have, the knives that are typically sold for most home cooks, they're made out of stainless steel, and so there is no risk of leaving it wet for prolonged amounts of time. In my case, because this is a carbon steel knife, this needs to be wiped down after every single usage to stop it from rusting. The reason why you would opt to go for a carbon steel knife instead of a stainless steel one is because it tends to hold an edge for a longer amount of time. Okay? Looks like the underside of a Christmas tree in February. Yeah, it is a little, you know, whatever. What kind of trees are used for Christmas trees? Are those pine trees? Whatever kind of tree it is. Yeah, it definitely has like the thorn, it has the bristliness, it has the thistliness. Pine trees, I see. Great. Well, this does look quite like the residue of a pine tree in a way. And it doesn't smell that far off either. But I love dill, I love how aromatic it is, I love how delicious it is. Okay. My knife has now been officially wiped down, and we can go ahead and proceed with the rest of my stock additions. So all we have so far, we have the dill, we have the chicken. Next up, my friends, is going to be adding some lovely bay leaves. Where's my bay leaves? Wait a second, did I not take out the bay leaves? Hello? Ah, here you are. Bay leaves. A lot of people think that bay leaves don't do anything. That's not true. They're aromatic. They just provide a really, really delicious flavor. And so I'm going to go ahead and get, I don't know, a handful of bay leaves, 3 to 4 bay leaves. I'm going to go ahead and grab those bad boys and throw that into the stock pot as well. Okay, now, last few components that we're going to add is just going to be a couple of garlic cloves. I want as much flavor inside of this broth as possible, and by making a stock out of some garlic instead of just sautéing it inside of the final soup, it does give us a different dimension. It gives us a different flavor out of the garlic itself. So, 1 garlic clove, take it, smash it down, go ahead and peel the skin off. Okay, excellent. And now that the skin has been peeled off, we'll just go ahead and give that another little smash just to make sure that we can extract as much flavor out of him as possible, but we can still pick him out. So, everybody, that is going to be the majority of the components for my stock. And so you don't have to use exactly the vegetables, exactly the aromatics that I use today. I want you to use the vegetable scraps that you have at home. You can do celery scraps, carrot scraps, onion scraps, pepper scraps. Okay, any of those would make excellent additions for the chicken stock. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab this bad boy. I'm gonna fill it up with some water just to make sure that everything is mostly looking covered. And if everything is mostly looking covered, we'll put this on for high pressure for about 50 to 40 minutes or so. Okay. So once again, everybody, my goal is to get you all into the habit of making your own homemade chicken stocks. It's a nice way of using up leftover ingredients, and it can be so much more flavorful and so much more aromatic than pre-bought ones. Okay. So 50 minutes, high pressure, currently going. It has my dill stems, it has my chicken bones, it has my onion scraps, and it also has some garlic and bay leaves. Okay, onions, garlic, bay leaves, super classic, super traditional in a chicken stock. You could do cilantro stems, you could do parsley stems, right? You could do some spices. Some spices don't get infused into water the best. Some of them prefer more so an oil extraction above all else. And I'll just get my dill into the fridge for later, just to make sure that that doesn't go wilted or too soft by the time that we need to use it. Okay, so What do we actually have left to do today? We have a lot of vegetable prep ahead of us. Is everybody ready? I want to hear a nice resounding guest chef from everybody watching, please and thank you. We have to prep the broccoli. And again, the reason why I wanted to show off this kind of a soup dish today is because I hate having excess broccoli stems. I feel a little bit guilty throwing them away, but I don't actually really enjoy eating broccoli stems in a lot of different contexts. We prize the florets. I guess in some ways that conditioning has taken effect on me, but in an effort to not waste it, we're going to be blending it into the final soup. Also, quite frankly, not enough yes chefs, and you guys could do better. Please and thank you. So, broccoli stems, we gotta chop up the onions. We have to saute them quite heavily. We have to do the spice mixture for today as well. It's going to be all of my different herbs, and then we'll mix it up and add it into the soup as well. So, with that being said, I feel like the first thing that we should do is let's handle the onions. Let's get the onion prep done. Let's get that out of the way, and we'll get that all taken care of. So, back to my cutting board. And because this is going to be all for a blended soup, my friends, it's actually not going to matter all that much how we cut our onions. We don't want to cut it so big that it doesn't properly soften in time, but we also don't need to take a million years to cut it into the perfect shape. Because everybody, remember, above all else, this is a vegetable soup. Vegetable soups are not meant to be overly complicated. You could give them a lot of love, but my goal is to teach you a simple vegetable soup, one that is flavorful, one where we do all the necessary steps, and so we don't have to go too crazy cutting up this onion. We're still going to be doing the onion fan method, my friends. Okay, so instead of chopping it up and then, doing a whole bunch of other unnecessary things to it, we're going to fan it out. We're going to fan it out. We're going to fan it out by making a bunch of little incisions along the onion. Broccoli stems are a little like pineapple cores. Hate tossing them, but tough to use. That's right. I agree. I have a very similar perspective on them. And so that's why I'm here to show you guys a different way. I'm here to show you what it could be instead. So we fan out the onion, but it is still attached by the root because the root stops it from completely falling apart as soon as we begin cutting it. And now that we have the incisions made, my friends, we can just go in there and slice it up, and you can see that we have all of our beautiful onion chunks. And I'm going for like a small medium dice here. Okay. Again, for the sake of a vegetable soup, it does not have to be too complicated. It's a soup. You're supposed to throw a bunch of ingredients together and boil them to death. And it's supposed to be cheap and affordable and easy, okay? So, maybe we won't go that far, but all I'm just trying to say is don't overcomplicate a vegetable soup. Don't make it something that it does not have to be. Okay, onions. I'm gonna go ahead, and before I continue, everybody, really important, you want to keep your station clean. You want to keep it organized. If your cutting board looks full, stop cutting. Go ahead, grab a separate bowl. I'm going to actually tie up my hair while I'm able to really quickly. Don't keep pushing it. Don't keep forcing it. You probably don't have a cutting board the size of a restaurant butcher block at home, right? You probably don't have a massive plastic cutting board that stretches across the table. If you're running out of space, just go ahead and transfer things over to your bowl, my friends. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is because so many people, they get stressed out through the vegetable prep process. They get stressed out with how much of a mess it's all making. Right? You don't have to do that. Stay neat, stay organized. You don't have to lift all the shopping bags up at once, right? Go in the medium dice and just cut it up. Cut it up, cut it up, cut it up, cut it up. Excellent. And so the onion, I feel like for the vegetable soup, is one of those also essential ingredients because alliums, they have so much flavor, they have so much sweetness to be able to bring to the table. And another thing that I want to show off to you guys is this is not a recipe. All that I'm showing you here, all the different techniques I'm showing you here are applicable and interchangeable with a lot of different things. That is the creativity of cooking, right? That's the creativity of it all. That's how special it can be. Cooking is not about, you look at a recipe and you want to replicate it exactly. It is, hey, I've just showed you a technique here. Now think about how you can make it your own. If you have leeks available to you, if you have red onions available, if you have shallots available, all of those would make for excellent substitutions for an onion. Or if you have an onion lying around and you just want to use it, that's fine too. Right? Cooking can be interchangeable and it can be creative. You just have to understand the function of each ingredient. So the onions in this case, they add a little bit of sweetness and they give it a little bit of aroma. They're not really there for texture, they're not really there for filler, but they're there for those very specific functions. So one whole onion, nicely cut up, and I'll go ahead and put that behind me. Next, just because I already have it out, the kale is going to be one of the last additions of a vegetable soup. So, really important concept, my friends, is the orchestration of a soup. Because when you have vegetables like kale and potatoes and onions and then also some peas, everything cooks at different times. And so a lot of knowing how to make a good vegetable soup is knowing when you should put each thing in. In the case of the kale, this is not going to get blended. This is only going to be added to the soup after it's been blended, okay? And so, as a result, this has to be kept nice and separate. So Foxy Princess, this is a bench scraper. This is one of my favorite kitchen tools. It allows you to scoop and pick everything up, okay? Best part about having children with younger siblings is getting them to do the vegetable chopping. So Ron, while that's true, my goal is to get you guys to be in love with the process of vegetable prep. Vegetable prep doesn't have to be unfun and laborious. It can be ritualistic, and we can really pay attention to our technique. Okay, kale. Now, this is going to be added at the end of the soup. This is not going to be blended in at all. And so, in this case, we want to have a bit of a nicer knife cut. I don't want massive leaves of kale because it can really easily take up a fork, it can take up a spoonful, and become a little difficult to consume that way. So, I have some kale. All I'm going to do is grab it, and we're going to do some nice thin shreds of kale, my friends. Thin shreds, and just go slowly. Take your time. It's already been soaked and put into a salad spinner. Welcome on in, Count JP. I hope you're having an excellent day today. Hope all is well and good for you. Okay, 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 okay. There we go, my friends. Just nice, thin slices using our middle finger knuckle just to be able to guide the knife. And we can get more into the specifics of knife technique, especially because today is not going to be like an uneventful day per se, just a bit of a slower one. Okay. Welcome on in, Athena Belladonna. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Okay, so everybody got some kale ready. Got it ready to go. I'm going to just go ahead and put that onto a separate plate. And then we're going to begin doing the broccoli prep for you today. Okay, so once again, in the interest of using less dishes as I cook, because I have a bit of a problem when it comes to using dishes, parentheses, I use a lot of them, I'm going to just try to repurpose plates and bowls whenever I can. Okay, so kale, got that going. Gonna go ahead and put that aside. And because this is baby kale, because this is a lot younger, it's not as mature, we don't necessarily need to take the stems out. If it's like really, really thick, mature kale with really big, thick stems, then that's the one you're gonna wanna go ahead and take out. In this case though, this is gonna be more than okay. All right, everybody, broccoli stems and broccoli as well. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to need to get the florets off so that we can wash the florets. And then we're going to peel the stems, okay? Why am I showing this? Why am I doing this dish? I wanted to use my broccoli stems and not waste them. I don't love broccoli stems. I don't love doing pickled or roasted broccoli stems like many others would suggest. Those have never been for me, okay? So, I have these florets right here. This I'm going to go ahead and put into a bowl to soak with some cold water, and then we're going to be using a salad spinner. So I cut the florets off. We're going to give them a nice good wash. Okay, and the florets are not going to be blended in. They'll be added in towards the end of the process as well. So just filling that up with some nice cold water, and then we'll just make sure it doesn't have any dirt or any bugs in it. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? So again, I feel like also a lot of the recipes for what to do with broccoli stems are like a little bit impractical. A lot of people are big on pickling them, and I don't know about you guys, but having a lot of like pickled red onions or a lot of pickled broccoli stems, you don't really know what to do with it. You can put a few of them on a sandwich, but then after that point, it becomes almost like cumbersome. Okay, everybody, here's what we gotta do. We gotta get these broccoli stems edible and ready to go, because the outer layer of the stem, especially the thick part, it's super, super fibrous. It's not going to blend up very easily. It's not gonna have a good chew to it, okay? So I'm gonna start off by cutting off the dried off bottoms, okay? They have nothing to add here. They have nothing to really contribute. Ooh, Trash Can Cat Mom, please let me know how that goes. I'd be really excited to hear about how it goes. Okay, and so we have the broccoli stem, right? All I'm gonna go ahead and do is just peel it. We're gonna give it a good old peeling session with a little vegetable peeler. Everybody, if you're struggling with your peeler, here is your reminder to just go ahead and throw it away and buy a new one. Peelers are one of the few kitchen tools that are not meant to last you a long time. They're supposed to just work until they're dull and they're not really usable after that. Am I ever going to make a breakfast meal? So Count JP, that's a good question. And that's a good question because I feel like the stuff that I do on stream, it's very specifically the food that I eat in my routine. It's the food that I eat throughout the week. It's the food that I make for myself and for others. And so, because I'm never really making like, I don't really eat breakfast food. And I feel like a lot of what we consider breakfast food, things like pancakes, things like waffles, they're not very reheatable and they're most realistic in like a restaurant setting. So the answer is only if I do like a breakfast for dinner one of these days, but I usually have like my dinners for breakfast, if that makes any sense. Right? Like I like having a stew for breakfast and whatnot. Okay, let's go ahead and continue to just peel up all of these stems, my friends. Get rid of any aging bits on them. Get them out of here. Get it nice and peeled up. Get all that fibrous skin out of there. Again, it's not going to peel up the best once we do get to cooking the broccoli stems. So, getting this done now is in everybody's best interest. Leftovers for breakfast is the one thing I do too, if that's what you mean. Yeah, and I feel like that's like the best way to have a breakfast as well. If it's early in the morning, I'm not really trying to cook unless I have somebody to impress, which is still valid, right? We sometimes cook to impress people. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we have people over, sometimes somebody spends the night and you want to do something nice for them. So in that case, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Cooking breakfast would be something I would do on stream one of these days, right? But it would just need to fit into my routine, and at the moment, presently speaking, I don't really eat breakfast. I don't eat it, and I subsequently don't make it either. So that's my hesitation. Okay, again, just going maybe a little bit overboard. We're just trying to get rid of as much of that super, super tough skin as possible till the inside of the broccoli looks green. Okay, so get rid of it, get them out of here. And then I think that should be all ready to go for my purposes today. Okay, everybody. So I have my broccoli stems. We're going to have a little bit more once we're done with these florets as well, because I just want to really basically just shave the tops off and get all of the stems blended in. But right now, all that we're going to go ahead and do is we're just going to chop it up. We just want this in really, really small pieces. Again, it does not have to be perfect because it's all going to get blended up at the end of the day. But right now, I'm going to grab my broccoli stem. I'm going to cut it in half. Going to cut it in half. Excellent. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut it into lengths, just like so. And again, all that I want is just a really, really nice, thin, small cut on this. I want this to get super, super soft as it cooks. I don't want to cut it too big, because if I cut it too big, it's not going to cook and get soft in time. Okay, so these are all of my lengths. I'm going to go ahead and stack them up. Thin slices. Thin, 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 thin. Just break it down. Break it down. Get it to a point where it can be cooked. Break it down. Break it down. Make it happen. Nice, small, little thin pieces. I like a quiche as a dump for food scraps. Yeah, that's a really nice way of using up assorted vegetable scraps. Sometimes I have like leftover onion, I have leftover string beans especially. Speaking of which, I have not done a string bean dish here in a long time. I think I should do one at some point soon. I love string beans. Also long beans especially. Long beans and string beans, oh, excellent together. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and grab, once again, my little plate. And we're going to put all of the stems as my cutting board gets full. Again, everybody, I am here to get you all into the habit of enjoying kitchen prep, of enjoying things like vegetable prep. It doesn't have to be unfun, right? And so we just make sure that our space is not too cluttered. We keep everything nice and organized, okay? Breadworms, welcome on in. It's lovely to have you. Hope you're having an excellent day today. All right, next little installment of broccoli stems. And once again, my friends, thin, thin, thin cut. Super thin. I want this to cook fast. I want this broccoli stem to basically turn into mush. I want it to get so soft over the course of cooking that it just completely falls apart. Okay, I don't want any chunks of broccoli stems whatsoever. I'm from Southern USA. Green bean casserole is one of our specialties. I've never really liked green bean casserole. Not to be like a hater about it all of a sudden, but I don't know. I really, really like string beans more like in the Sichuan way. Right, where it's like sautéed and you do it with like some ground beef or ground pork and with like a bunch of chilies. That tends to be like my favorite kind of string bean preparation. Baked in like a casserole setting, never really been for me. Also, Laurahe, welcome on in. That's right, we have some raw broccoli. It's all going to be going into the final vegetable soup. Also, welcome on in, Kishma9. Hope you're having an excellent day today. Once again, everybody grab your stems. Nice thin cuts, no big chunks of these stems. They're all going to fall apart. They're all going to get nice and soft as they cook down. And we're just not wasting anything. We're using all of our leftovers today, my friends. All of my vegetable scraps, everything is going into this. Reminds me of my grandparents, massive nostalgia. I see. Is a good knife worth investing in, or is an okay knife good enough? Florian Knox, amazing question. And so, I have an amazing answer for you, which is, it depends what your intentions are with cooking. So, what even is a nice knife? Well, you need to have a knife that is suited to your needs. Most consumer knives, the way that most people buy their kitchen knives, okay, is they kind of get advertised to, or the knife gets dull and they hit a certain point where they just go on Amazon, they buy whatever kind of knife, or sometimes they get gifted knives. But in my case, I really strongly advocate for people to invest into a knife that is suited for their needs. You need a chef's knife. You're going to want a chef's knife that feels good in your hands, and you're also going to want a certain quality of steel if you cook all the time. This is a carbon steel chef's knife. I don't know the exact kind of carbon steel, but carbon steel is a little bit more expensive than stainless steel is, but it stays sharp longer but requires more babysitting. Okay? Also, welcome on in, Respirate. Hope you're having an excellent day today. I have so many people coming in. Did we get rated? Question mark? I'm not sure. Anyways, hi, it's lovely to have you. Just going in there, and once again, just thinly cutting it up. So the answer is, yes, a nice knife will always make cooking better, but you have to understand that the nicer of a knife that you get, the more maintenance they require, right? If it's a stainless steel one or a carbon steel one, you never want to put into the dishwasher. It's going to need sharpening from time to time, right? So it's an investment. It's an investment and it's a commitment, is what I'm trying to say. And so if you would like a nice knife, right? Could be the world's most casual game. Yeah, I think so too, Shashika. Do I know Zwilling knives and are they good knives? So this is a Zwilling. This is a Kramer x Zwilling collaboration. That being said, I'm not crazy about the other Zwilling stainless steel knives. This is the most accessible consumer level carbon steel knife, and it's really, really good. Otherwise, Zwilling knives, I'm not crazy about their steel quality, and I'm also not crazy about their shape. But Zwilling is also like one of those like classic brands, I believe, of German steel that is like well known. So it's well known for sure. It's just not my preferred one. This is just one exception that I have for Zwilling. Okay, so everybody, take a look. I got my broccoli stems all cut up and ready to go. I have my kale leaves, which are going to be ready to add at the end of my final stew, at the end of my final soup, and it's going to give us an extra leafy bite. I wanted a nice, healthy soup today. I wanted it packed with vegetables, and I wanted to use up all of my existing leftovers. And it's still going to be flavorful, and it's still going to be delicious. So, broccoli stems and kale. I can go ahead and officially put that behind me. My broccoli has officially soaked as well. And so what I can do here is I can spin it dry. I'm going to show you all one of my favorite kitchen tools that I think everybody should invest in, and I need to hear another yes, chef, please, and thank you. This, my friends, is the humble salad spinner. And I love salad spinners, and I love salad spinners to death. And I love them because it's such an easy way of getting water off of lettuce, off of cabbage, off of herbs, off of even cherry tomatoes and broccoli. Okay, so take the broccoli, pop the lid on, come on, pop it on, and we just spin it dry, my friends. Just spin it dry, spin it dry, spin it dry, and it's also very fun to use. That's a very important detail here. Okay, you spin it a little bit, guess what? Look at the sheer volume of water that comes out of it with just a few little tiny spins. That wasn't even extensive spinning, my friends. Okay, take it and spin it once again. Also, welcome on in, OS and Y is dead. Hope you're having an excellent day today. That's right, centrifugal fun. You got it, Chai Chica. Spin it dry, spin to win. Get that broccoli, get it ready to go. No need to waste paper towels. You got it. Okay? And it does a much better job than paper towels too, because it actually agitates it. It gets it out of all the different little pores. Broccoli has a lot of pores to it, you know? Okay, next, back to this. So, I want little tiny baby florets inside of my final soup today. I don't want any of the big guys, okay? So, I'm taking it, and I'm never actually cutting down the florets. That's how you make a mess on your cutting board, everybody. All that I'm doing is I'm going around it, I'm rotating it, and I'm shaving it off. Okay, I'm taking it and I'm shaving it off, basically. Just like that, nice and easy. I'm taking it and I am shaving it. Taking it, shaving it, just like so. That way the florets don't go all over my cutting board and everything is kept nice and intact. So, go back in there, clean it all up. You see, I accidentally went into the florets, and look what happened. I made a mess all over the place. The florets just ended up spilling out. And these are not going to need any additional cutting whatsoever. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any big clusters. And this is going to be ready to add into my soup as well. This will also be one of my final additions, because remember, everybody, I don't want my florets to get mushy. I want my stems to get soft. I want my stems to get super, super tender. I want them to get fully cooked through. But my florets, those guys I want to be very delicate with. So, grabbing them. These will be, once again, added towards the end of the soup. So that's why I'm keeping them all nice and separate. Excellent. Next, we got to go ahead and cut up these stems now that we're all done with them. So just take them, chunk them down, and then I'm going to go ahead and get them to a nice fine dice. And then we can begin frying the onions while we do everything else. Is everybody ready for that? I hope you all are. So once again, just thin, thin, thin slices all the way through. This is just to help make sure that they cook all the way through. Koi, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. So, broccoli stems, almost done. Cut them up, getting them down to size. That's right, cleaning as you go in a lot of different ways in a home kitchen is the most important thing that I could possibly teach anybody. Okay? So that's why I keep emphasizing it so much. Okay, okay, okay. I think that that is going to be more than fine for my uses today. I'm going to go ahead and grab all of this, and we can begin the process, everybody, that is sautéing the onions. And for that, I'm going to need everybody's attention, because the goal is to get them nice and golden. And there's going to be a little bit of technique that goes into it. There's going to be a little bit of theory that goes into it. And that's okay. But I need you all to pay attention to this, because I'm going to help explain a couple of things to you all. Okay, so here I have my beautiful, my golden, well, not gold, I don't know why I said golden, my shiny Mavier saucepan, my stainless steel Mavier saucepan. So we're going to heat it up on a low-medium heat with with an aggressive amount, in fact, of olive oil. Okay, so a few things going on here. Stainless steel, I feel like, is one of the most misunderstood pieces of cookware. And a lot of people don't really know how to use it properly. And a lot of people don't understand why we saute certain things. And a lot of people don't understand a lot of the steps that go into this. I am going to right now demystify a bunch of things for you all, okay? So, first and foremost, why are we bothering frying the onions if it's going to end up boiling later on? Well, everybody, that's because browning food, specifically searing it in oil, cooking it in oil, changes the flavor in ways that simply cooking it in water do not. Right? We develop what's called a Maillard reaction. We dissolve a bunch of the aromatics inside of the oil itself, and then we get to brown and build and develop flavor with the onions. So, we're going to properly fry the onions in olive oil instead of just boiling it. Could you theoretically make a vegetable soup where everything is just boiled? Absolutely you can, but it doesn't have as much flavor. Do you have to do this? No, you do not, but you need to know your intentions. Everybody, food is as only good as the creator's intentions. If you wanted just a vegetable soup that was just boiled and simple and ready to go, you can do that. But if you want deeper, more complex flavor, this is what I'm showing you. Okay, next. I have this on a low, medium heat. I'm gonna say this again. I have this on a low, medium heat. I don't have this on a high heat because the goal is to heat this up evenly. A lot of people, a lot of food influencers, they show off using stainless steel by cranking it up to max heat. They put water in and they say, oh, when the water dances, that's how you know it's ready to go. Not true. It's not about having it be smoking hot. It is about making sure that it's heated up evenly. If you put a massive flame up to this, you'll have hot spots and cool spots. You'll put water in it and it'll sizzle. You don't need to do that. Low, medium heat, heat it up slowly over the course of several minutes. And that's going to make sure that the base of it is nice and evenly hot and no food is going to stick. Next, when we're sauteing something like these onions, guys, you need to consider onions are wet. Onions are full of water. Water stops food from browning. So in order to get a beautiful golden brown onion, my friends, we need to cook it for an extended amount of time. We need to first collapse the onion. Once the onion collapses, it releases water. Once the water is released, we can evaporate it. And once the water is evaporated, only then can the onions begin to fry. So any recipes you see that say, saute the onions for 2 minutes, absolute nonsense. It does not actually do anything. So thick bottom equals even heat. That is true, Ron, except it can be even worse in terms of how evenly it's heated if you don't heat it up long enough. If it has a thick bottom and you heat it up really quickly over a high heat, you will have even worse hot spots and cool spots. So thick bottom ensures that it keeps the amount of heat, for sure, and it does help it to be even. You just have to be really, really slow when you heat it up. Okay, because once again, this is a carbon steel knife. It is prone to rusting. It's not stainless steel. I have to give that a quick little wash, give that a quick little rinse, and then we can move on with the other stuff that we have to do. So again, everybody, my only goal, my only intention at this moment in time is just to get my onions nice and golden. Then we'll add the broccoli stems and it'll be great. And everything is gonna cook down and everything is gonna get nice and soft and delicious. Okay? Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, so that's prepped. That's ready to go. We're just gonna wait for that to heat on up. We'll add in the onions. So what is actually left for us to do after that point? Well, we have to cut up the potatoes. We also have to do the spice blend for today, right? We have a bunch of spices that are going to be going into the final product. How am I doing, Count JP? Thank you for asking. I'm doing quite well, a little bit tired today. Yeah, I don't know, I'm just looking forward to being able to do the final soup. So I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. Okay. It's gonna be a big pot of soup today. Yeah, oh yeah. Can you make a grilled cheese? I'm hungry. You know, I do have all the ingredients, but I won't do it anyways. Sorry. Maybe another time. I think I did a grilled cheese on stream once. Or maybe it was just the quesadillas. Okay, so my pan specifically, it does not need to heat up as slowly because of the fact that it is a Mavier. They have like a little aluminum coil inside of the stainless steel to help it conduct heat. Can we order in? It is a Sunday, so on Sundays I do support ordering in. Otherwise, Count JP, not so much. Okay, everybody, oil, nice and hot. But again, it doesn't need to be too hot. What we do need, though, is a significant amount of fat. Because remember, fat is the medium between the heat and the vegetable itself. So I'm adding in all of my lovely onions into the oil. And the only goal now, guys, don't worry about browning. Don't worry about searing these onions. Because as soon as these onions are heated up enough, they're going to collapse and release all of their liquid. Once the onions collapse and release their liquid, there is no more sauteing, there is no more frying. So listen to the music, listen to the sound. It has a gentle sizzle at the moment, right? It's gently sizzling, it's gently bubbling. But it's high pitched and it's about to go away. So this sizzling is going to quickly transform into boiling when the onions release their own water. Now, to help facilitate the onions releasing their own liquid, as well as to also season them at the same time, we're going to add some salt. The salt is going to help pull out some of the water out of the onions, and it's going to help get everything nice and seasoned. You can already hear the sizzling beginning to die down. And that's exactly, well, it's not necessarily what we want, but it's an indication of what's going on. The onions are releasing their water, my friends. That is why sauteed onions do not happen immediately, okay? They don't take 5 minutes to properly get them nice and golden. It takes some time, and it takes some love, and it takes some affection. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? Let's go ahead and get my herb mixture, my spice mixture, ready to go to be added into the final soup today. Okay, so let's talk about some of my spices. Let's talk about some of my seasonings and why I've chosen to include them. And again, remember, you can do whatever you want. This is your food. This is your meal. You have full creative control here. So first, I have some oregano. I also have some sage leaves because I just wanted some fresh herbs in there because herbs and vegetables, you can't really go wrong with that. I have a little bit of smokiness coming in from my paprika. And the cayenne is mostly here just for the heat, the paprika for some color and smokiness. And then last but not least, we also have some coriander seeds. Okay, so we have a lot of that really, really delicious herby flavor. We have, I mean, I feel like it's difficult to describe the aroma of oregano and sage and all these other things. I feel like it's like, you know, if you've smelled it, you know what it smells like, you know what it tastes like, right? So we're going to go ahead and get that mixture ready. I'm going to grab, as usual, one of my favorite kitchen tools. I'm going to grab my spice grinder. Why am I using whole oregano leaves? Why am I using whole sage leaves? Why am I using whole coriander seeds? Well, it's because, my friends, whole spices have more flavor than pre-ground spices. I'm going to say it again. Whole spices have more flavor than pre-ground spices. When you're cooking, there's a very important concept, my friends, and it is called destructive and non-destructive prep. Destructive prep is processing food in any way that causes it to go bad sooner. So when you grind spices, you increase the surface area of it, you expose all of the volatile compounds that make spices smell like it, and then they rancidify even faster as they're exposed to both oxygen and to light. So whole spices, they have a much better shelf life than pre-ground ones, my friends. Okay, so coriander seeds going in. Coriander seeds I don't want too much of. They can easily become overpowering. Okay, next we're going to go in with a handful of dried sage leaves. You can use fresh as well, but again, this is what I have, so I'm using what I have first and foremost. And I'm just getting rid of all of the different stems because they're not going to grind down, of course, inside of here, and it would just be woody and powdery and weird. So, sage leaves going in. And everybody, you can hear that the onions, they're beginning to sizzle again. They're beginning to sizzle. The water is being cooked out of it. We're going to go back into the onions, give it all a stir, and we're just going to make sure that it's all cooking up as evenly as possible. So my onions are going. They're looking excellent. They're beginning to finally hit that sautéing stage, my friends. Nice and patient, nice and steady. All ready to go. Okay, sage leaves went in. Next, what am I missing? I'm missing some oregano. Let's go ahead and get some oregano as well. Once again, I'm just using my feel to measure this out. I'm going in with like very, very rough handfuls of each. Oh, spilled some, but that's okay. Just making sure there's once again no stems. I got quite lucky this time. Welcome on in, Iskia. Hope you're having a good day today. Okay, so once again, oregano, coriander seeds, sage leaves. All of that is currently inside, and all that we need to do, my friends, is just grind this down until it becomes a nice fine powder. Once again, we do whole leaves, we do whole seeds, we do whole spices, so that it doesn't lose its flavor nearly as quickly. Okay, so while the onions are going, I'm just going to go ahead and grind it up. And this is just a coffee grinder. So this is what people who use whole spices use to grind them down, right? You don't typically see like a lot of grinders that are specifically meant for spices. You just repurpose a coffee grinder. You just don't want to use the same coffee grinder that you use for your coffee because you end up having your coffee taste like spices, which might not necessarily be ideal. So going back into the onions, my friends, giving them another stir. Again, we still need to finish collapsing them. Make sure that no onions are stuck to the edges of the pan. The edges of the pan, they're the driest part, so that's where the onions end up sticking to. And because it's so dry and there's no moisture there, the onions burn before everybody else. Okay? So, take your spices and grind them down. Once again, just coriander seeds, oregano leaves, as well as some sage leaves. Grind it up, get it to a nice powder, my friends. Get it powdered, get it going, get it doing its thing. Okay, excellent. A little bit more. Until everything is a nice fine powder, my friends. Nice and easy. Okay, beautiful. Almost done, actually. Still have a few more chunks that I gotta go ahead and take care of. Onions are going. We got the broccoli stems done. We got a lot of blue vegetables done. We got to peel up the potatoes soon and do those too. Okay, are we a powder yet? It is still somehow not a full powder. Lasagna waiting room. Oh, like doing a homemade lasagna. I mean, we did lasagna once, but doing a lasagna from scratch, the way that I want to do it with like a bechamel and a bolognese and homemade pasta, it's a lot. It is a lot, but it can be so special and it can be so delicious, of course. Okay, onions. Now, everybody, listen to the sound. Now we have hit a sizzle, but we don't hit the sizzle immediately. Why? Because when the onions release their liquid, and they release so much of it that they begin cooking in their own liquid instead of in the fat. So go into the onions and scrape off anything that could be potentially stuck to the bottom, because all of those sugars could then result in burning later on. So get in there, get everything that could be possibly stuck unstuck. Okay, spinach lasagna, oh yeah. Oh, we've done many like spinach baked pasta, so that would be right up my alley. That would be great. Okay, a little bit more grinding. You can hear that sizzle, my friends. It's gonna get nice and golden. It's gonna get nice and delicious. Okay, it'll be great. I love spinach. I love spinach so much. So I feel you. Okay, I think that my spices are now mostly all ground up. So we're going to go ahead and transfer that into a little container, and then we're going to measure out some cayenne and some paprika, and that will also get added in. Okay, that'll be great. Go back in here though, and just give that a little mix. Once again, everybody, low, medium heat. You do not want the high heat. You will burn the fond. You will burn all of the sugars that come out of the onion before you actually get that nice, delicious, sweet, golden onion, my friends. So, once again, just go slowly, medium-low heat. Getting a nice, beautiful brown crust on something is not about blasting it with heat. It is a relationship between both time and temperature. Okay? So go slowly and take it easy. I'm going to go ahead and get all of my spices transferred over. Get all these bad boys in here. Excellent. And once again, everybody, what I have in here, this is my coriander, this is my sage leaves, as well as my oregano leaves. Okay? I am now going to go ahead and quickly take a second to put away my spices, because remember, everybody, when you cook at home, it is imperative that you clean as you go. Get rid of stuff now. If you have bottles of things laying around, get rid of it now before later, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, and while we're already at this, I'm gonna add in my paprika. And again, just a little bit of paprika, not too much. Not really a predominant flavor here or anything. And then we'll go ahead and get some cayenne, okay? We'll get some cayenne in there, and that is going to be my spice mixture for the vegetable soup today. A little bit more. Excellent, just for a little bit of heat inside of the final soup. Okay? So, that's all done. That's all ready to go inside. So once again, everybody, these are my broccoli stems, that's my kale, and those are my spices that will all be dedicated for the soup. I'm going back into the onions. I'm giving them a little stir around, and you can see, everybody, that they're becoming nice and golden. They're becoming like candy. They're getting nice and sweet and caramelized. Well, not like a full caramelized onion, but quite caramelized. Okay? So we're just letting them go. We're letting them do their thing. We're giving them some love, okay? Oh yeah, we have some excellent color, Shai Chica. That'll be great. Okay, next, let me get rid of my spices, and then we can go ahead and move on to peeling the potatoes and getting that done ready. And then we should also begin sauteing the broccoli stems as well while we're at it. Oregano goes away, my bay leaves and my sage leaves, all that has to go as well. It's all gotta go. Just to go ahead and make some space. Okay, excellent. So let's go back to the pot, because we are now going to go in with my broccoli stems, my friends. So my onions, at this point, they got a little bit golden. They needed a little bit of time so that we could cook out the liquid inside of them. Okay, but they're not fully done frying yet. Now I'm going in with my broccoli stems to give them a chance to pick up some color as well. And now we will be increasing the heat. Again, we don't need a lot of super deep, heavy browning here. We just want to get some amount of flavor developed. So broccoli goes in. Come on, trying to not get any of the kale in. I just want to make sure it's okay if a few leaves of kale get in. I just really want to make sure that all of my bits of stems make their way inside, because I don't want any chunks of stems inside of my final soup. Turning up the heat to about a medium or so, okay? And now the goal is to also go ahead and brown up those broccoli stems. So hit it with some salt. Give it a nice little stir around. And we want to get that flavor developed. We want to get that nice and golden. We want to get that nice and sweet. And it'll be perfect. Okay, everybody, what do we have left to prep? We got some garlic and we have some onions that we have to go ahead and do. Well, some garlic and some potato, that is. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that done. For the soup specifically, because we already have one garlic clove inside of the stock, we're not going to need as much as a result. So maybe just 2 to 3 cloves or so, I think is going to do it just fine. Grab my garlic, get him over here, pop him out. Come on, buddy, off you go. Thank you. Something like that, I think, is going to be a good amount for my soup today. Smash them down so that we can go ahead and peel up the skin, my friends. And we're just going to press them and add them in as soon as the broccoli stems get a bit of color on them. So nothing glamorous, nothing too fancy today, everybody. This is just some really, really simple home cooking above all else. We're doing broccoli, we're doing a little soup, we're doing some garlic bread, but it's all going to be quite healthy. It's all going to be quite flavorful at the end of it all. And also a homemade chicken stock as well. Okay. So grab that. Got my little garlic here. Just gonna go ahead and cut off the butts. And then into a separate vessel, I'm going to press in all of the garlic, my friends. Oh, and give that a little mix. Give that a little stir. Again, we're just trying to get my broccoli stems nice and brown slightly. There we go. Grab a little condiment cup. And now, once again, you know this about me. You know how much I hate chopping garlic, and you know how much I advocate for the use of a garlic press. I don't have to repeat myself too much more in that department, but everybody already knows this. So garlic, through the garlic press, it gets it done so quickly, it gets it done so efficiently, so much faster than a knife can. Okay, don't let anybody dissuade you from buying it. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't need it. If you're cooking, you're typically cooking with a lot of garlic, okay? And so, that I can even just add in as it is, because it's all going to get blended in anyways. All that garlic, ready to go. But we don't add the garlic in immediately, because remember, keep in mind that the garlic can burn very, very fast. The garlic burns a lot faster than the other ingredients, and so it's one of our last additions, okay? So, almost done. Last thing that we have to prep, my friends, is going to be my lovely little potatoes. We're going to peel them, we're going to cut them up into cubes, we're going to get them thrown into the pot, and we're going to get them nice and soft. Okay? I'm going to go quickly back to the pot in the meantime, slightly lower the heat, but continue to allow my lovely vegetables to get nice and browned. Okay? That is going to be the base of my soup today. Excellent. That's going. That's all ready to go. We're going to go in with the potatoes now, my friends. So, I'm going to put on some gloves for this. We're going to grab a peeler. The reason why I'm peeling these potatoes is a couple of reasons. First of all, you know, the skin on these isn't necessarily the best. Sometimes with like a fresher potato, they can be a little bit smoother, they can be a little bit less rotten. But the second reason why I am peeling the potatoes is because they're gonna get blended in. They're going to blend in, they need to give us that delicious texture that we're looking for. But if we don't peel them, my friends, the skin is just going to get gritty in the blending process, even with something as powerful as a Vitamix, okay? So get in there and peel it up, get it done, get the job done. Peel it all the way up. Is everybody still listening? I want to hear a nice yes, chef from everybody watching, please, and thank you. And for today, I am using gold potatoes. I love how creamy and custardy gold potatoes are. I feel like I talk about the virtues of gold potatoes every single time that I can. You could use white potatoes. The only kind that I would abstain from blending would be waxy potatoes. So fingerling potatoes, baby red potatoes, things like that are not going to be the ones that you don't, they're going to be the ones that you don't want to use for something like a soup. Okay, peeling it up, getting it done, Gonna pop out the eye of the potato as well. And we're just gonna get this nicely cut up into some small cubes. So it just goes in, and it goes in easy. And after I'm done peeling this, we're gonna go back to the broccoli and onions, give them a little stir. And so, once again, half of this potato, or rather one of these potatoes, one of the two that I have, one of them is going to get cubed up into the soup, and one of them is going to get blended in. Back to the broccoli stems, give them a stir, make sure that everything here is continuing to saute nicely and nothing is squelching. Beautiful. Okay, all that we need to do, my friends, is obtain a nice small little cube. That's all. Nothing less, nothing more. Because, once again, half of this potato will be going in as like a component that you bite into. We don't want to cut this too big, right? And we also want to take our time while we cut it. So first thing that we do, we'll cut this into some nice, even planks of potato. Not too thick, not too thin. I'm not going to give you an exact measurement. I think that would be a little excessive. So just cut them up into planks. And one more. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and do the same with the other one. Cut it up, get into planks, and then we'll get into batons. Plank it, and slice it, my friends. Slice it. Do not chop it, because if you chop it, it's going to pop out, and you're going to get a weird wedge of potato instead of a nice, easy slice. So, take it, batons now. Excellent. Remove the batons and cut them up into some nice little cubes. Whatever size that you would like for your final soup, but in my case, I'm just going for something really, really small. Just like so, and I think that's going to be perfect for my purposes. And if anybody has any questions, now would be an amazing time to ask me. Go back through the stack, cut it up into some nice, flat, even batons, grab your pile, give it a little quarter turn, and then cut it up into cubes. There you go, there you go, there you go, there you go. Beautiful. Now, we're halfway done with this. We're going to go ahead and just mix up my broccoli and mix up my onions again. You can hear how much it is currently sizzling. Everybody, the sound of it is so important. The sound tells you that we are now currently browning the broccoli stems. We've continued to evaporate some of the excess liquid out of it, and now it's browning, and now it's really developing some of that flavor. Okay? Grab it, cut it up, beautiful, excellent. Cut it up. And once again, we're only going to be using half of this potato for the blending process, and the rest of it will be cooked up after. Cube it, cube it, cube it. Excellent. Last few little planks of potato, and then we're all done with prepping him. And we can get back to the rest of the soup. Okay? Batons and chunks. Excellent. Everybody, we've officially broken down all of my potatoes for today. Got it all ready to go. I'm throwing that into a small little bowl. And we're going to fill it up with some water in just a second. But first things first, I got to go ahead and wash off my knife again. Remember, carbon steel knife has to be consistently washed off so that nothing rusts on it, so that nothing damages the blade. Wash that off, get that all ready to go. And now, my friends, we'll go back to the pot because now it is time for us to add in the garlic. Remember, I talk about the orchestration of it all. We have to know when is the best time to go ahead and add each ingredient. The reason why we don't add the garlic in sooner is because if we add it sooner, we risk the garlic burning. Remember, your onions, your broccoli, that's the stuff that can really hold up to extended amounts of cooking. But because of how much sugar garlic has, and because of how finely we ended up pressing it, right? It will burn before everything else does. Thus, it is the last addition of the produce that gets sauteed. So in it goes. In it all goes now, my friends. The broccoli stems, I can smell the roast on it. I can smell the saute on it. And we're just mixing everything inside. We're getting everything unstuck from the sides of the pan. We're getting it all mixed in. And we're also still trying to fry the garlic. Why? Because it still builds flavor. It still continues to develop flavor. It makes it that much nuttier, right? And it also infuses it into the oil itself. So everybody, the potato that we're adding into the soup as well today, it is incredibly functional. The potato is almost like the glue. It's going to add the starch that's going to keep the soup nice and viscous. It's going to keep it all together. Oftentimes, when you do blended soups with broccoli or blended soups with peas, they tend to separate a little bit. And so this is a little thing that I picked up doing a Turkish lentil soup. By adding in some potato now, it really, really helps it to hold together. Hi Chef, question regarding refrigerating food. School of Rock and Roll, welcome on in, it's lovely to have you. Let's see your question. I was always taught to never put hot food in the fridge, but recently I've been doing that out of necessity. How much true is it that it's bad to put hot food in the fridge? So, couple of answers, couple of reasons, School of Rock and Roll, and let me explain to you why. First of all, it damages, and it's not that it damages the fridge, but it might potentially damage the tempered glass that you put it on, since most of the layers in a fridge are built out of tempered glass. And you're shocking it by putting something hot on it. Second of all, it makes the rest of the fridge warm. And it might take food that is currently sitting in a safe bacterial zone, being the temperature of the fridge, to one that is slightly above it. Third, having food that is hot go directly into the fridge, it does not actually cool it down in time in the center of it for it to be out of the bacterial safety zone, depending on how much volume you have. For example, if you have a pot of hot boiling stock, and you add that directly into the fridge, it's not going to cool down in time before it reaches that safe zone. Okay, so you better shock it with some ice first and then to put it into the fridge. So the answer is yes, it is pretty true that you should not be putting hot food into the fridge. You can do warm food, you just don't want it to be explicitly hot. Now, everybody, garlic is in there. Garlic has got it nice and fried. Now we go in with all of my spices because I want my spices. I want my cayenne, okay? I want all of that to fry up as well as a generous helping of black pepper. Generous helping, in it all goes. Grind it up, also toast and fry the pepper, my friends. Okay? Here you go. Looking good, frying the spices, frying the coriander, frying the paprika, infusing it all into the oil. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, okay? And now, my friends, we deglaze it. We get everything unstuck from the bottom with the help of a bunch of white wine. This is also going to give our soup a bunch of much needed flavor. In goes the wine. In goes half of my frozen peas as well, that are no longer actually frozen, because some of the peas will get blended into the soup as well. Okay, and in goes half of my potatoes. Okay, remember, half of the potatoes will be going in later, half of the potatoes will be going in now. Okay, so half the potatoes, and this is the bulk of my soup, my friends. This is the bulk of it. This is what all needs to get super, super soft and super overcooked now. I need this to basically turn into soupy mush. So we're cranking up the heat. We're going to evaporate the wine. We're going to add in some plain water. When the chicken stock is done, we'll add in some of that. We'll blend it down, and then we'll add in the rest of the ingredients. Does anybody have any questions for me at this point in time? Again, the goal, we got to get it soft. We have to get it overcooked. We have to basically turn this whole thing into mush, my friends. Okay, we need to get it soft enough that it all just blends down, that it does the job. This does not need to have any texture in it. All the texture will come in from the future potatoes, from the future kale. Okay, it'll all find a way here. Smells great. Probably tastes amazing too. That'll be great. Okay, hi. Now I think we actually have a bit of a pause. We have some time where we can slow down. We can talk about everything else that we have left to do for the soup. We can make the preparations. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do a recap session. Everybody, hope you're all having a good day. Hope you're all enjoying the show so far. For anybody that might just now be tuning in, I'm doing a bit of a recap for all of us. Okay, so today we're doing a vegetable soup, and we're not just doing any vegetable soup, we're doing a broccoli and pea and potato and kale and dill soup. My entire inspiration for today came from the fact that I had some leftover broccoli. Specifically, I had a bunch of leftover broccoli stems. I don't really love eating broccoli stems. I don't love the texture of them. I don't love how woody they are. Okay, and so a lot of people, they say you can roast it, you can saute it, but I wanted to show off a really nice way of using up a bunch of broccoli stems, which is to cook it down and blend it into a soup. because it still has a lot of nutrition. It still has a lot of amazing flavor of broccoli, but my goal is to get it super mushy, super soft, super overcooked, because then it's going to blend down and help make a delicious and creamy soup, my friends. So that's exactly what I did. I took my leftover broccoli stems, we peeled them off just to get the super fibrous skin on the outside out of it, cut it up, and we sauteed some onion and a bunch of olive oil. We sauteed the broccoli stems in the olive oil. We added in some garlic, and we made a spice mixture consisting of coriander seeds, out of some oregano, out of some sage, paprika, and cayenne, and we fried that. We deglazed it all with a bunch of white wine, then we added in potatoes and peas. So we saved some potatoes for later, we saved some peas to add in later. Right? But the rest of these vegetables, we want to get them super, super soft. We want to get them super, super overcooked and mushy. At the same time, we've already started on a delicious homemade chicken stock, my friends. That chicken stock is currently pressure cooking. It was made out of my leftover chicken bones, combined with some onion scraps, combined with some garlic, some bay leaves, and also my dill stems for later today. We cut up some kale that's going to be added to the soup later. So we're going to have chunks of kale, we're going to have chunks of peas, we're going to have chunks of potato, and we're also going to have my reserved broccoli florets, my friends, which are chilling and hanging out over here. And these will all be added into the soup and added in later. So what do we actually have left to do? Well, we still got to cook this down. We got to get all this stuff nice and soft. Then we blend it down. We'll put that back into the same pot. We'll cook all these other vegetables. And while we're also doing that, my friends, we're going to be working on making some garlic bread. I had some leftover King's Hawaiian rolls, these bad boys right here, and I love them because they're so buttery and cakey and soft. And so we're going to be turning them into garlic bread with a little bit of dill, with some butter, with some olive oil, with some garlic powder, and fresh garlic as well. Okay, so my pressure cooker, it's already gone for 50 minutes in total. It has 8 minutes left on it technically. I am going to kill the pressure now. We're going to kill the pressure, and I'm going to release it. Okay? I wanted to get you guys into the habit of making your own homemade chicken stocks. I wanted to show you how easy and how reliable it is to make your own stocks, and to show you that, hey, anybody can do this. Anybody can do this, and it really heavily upgrades and levels up the quality of your food, right? Boxed chicken stock, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, boxed chicken stock, it is not worth it. You do not need it. If anything, boxed and canned chicken stocks, they can easily be substituted for with powdered chicken stock or something like Better Than Bouillon. If you have to use an instant one, Better Than Bouillon, one of the powdered ones, they're cheaper, they're a lot more space efficient, and they also, straight up, in my opinion, taste better than the boxed and canned variants. Okay? So, we're releasing the pressure on our homemade chicken stock. We can smell how aromatic it is. The smell is filling up the kitchen. It smells like dill, it smells like garlic, it smells like bay leaves. Okay? And now we're just going to get the base of my soup all together. The white wine seems to have officially evaporated. And now we just have a big pot of vegetable mush at the moment. But we're going to submerge it all in water. We're going to submerge it with that freshly cooked chicken stock, and it's going to be amazing. Okay? So just a big old pot of vegetables right now with some spices on it. Probably tastes okay, but it's going to taste so much better after it's all been blended, of course. So, that's what we got going on. I'm waiting for my pressure to finish releasing on my pressure cooker. And the reason why we did the stock in a pressure cooker is because it's so much faster than doing it by traditional means of using a pot. There's pros and cons to using a pressure cooker, of course. There's a couple of drawbacks to the high temperature environment. But for something like chicken stocks in a home setting, guys, so ideal every single time. Okay? The white wine has all evaporated at this point, and the white wine is just going to be essential for contributing some flavor into the final soup. Okay? My chicken stock is just about done boiling away, or rather, we're just about done releasing the pressure on it. And so, it is time for us to strain out all of the stock, my friends, and into the pot. So, it's time for the great reveal. Just grab that little colander, set that bad boy down, lower the heat slightly. Excellent. And now, my friends, my homemade chicken stock comes out, and it is golden, and it is luscious, and it is beautiful, and it is full of flavor, and that is exactly what we want. And it smells like the chicken stocks I grew up eating and drinking in my grandmother's soups, because we have both the dill and the bay leaves. That's very aggressively Russian. That's very aggressively Eastern European coded. Okay? So, get all of that delicious golden stock and all of its fat in there, guys. Do not be shy with the addition of all of the chicken fat as well that came out of it. Okay, because that is also going to contribute a lot of flavor into the final soup. So drip it out, get it out of there, and now, my friends, the only goal now is to boil it down. That is the beginning of a really special soup. You can already see how much flavor it has. You can see how delicious it is. And it smells like matzo ball soup. It smells like chicken soup because of, the dill and the bay leaf together. Right, so there we go. It's happening, it's cooking down, and we need to aggressively boil this, my friends. Okay, because it's all gonna get nice and smooth. Can I strain it into the sink? Gonzo, if you come over into my home and you strain away my beautiful, my precious homemade chicken stock into the sink, I'll be very upset, okay? I've never made that mistake before, but I know people who have. Don't ask this dish about the Ukraine war, that's right. Well, I grew up Russian-Ukrainian. Okay, Count JP, so maybe you can. But yeah, that smell specifically of so much like dill. A lot of, Ashkenazi cuisine utilizes it. Chef, do you regularly do pork stock? I do, Tarina. And the reason why I regularly do pork stock is because I'm never really cooking with pork, right? I sometimes have a couple of pieces of meat, but I never really have a substantial amount of pork bones. If I had some pork hocks, if I had some pork shanks and whatnot, then I'd be more than happy to do a pork stock, right? Because the way that stock should work, my friends, you shouldn't be going out of your way to buy bones for the stock. That gets expensive fast. If you've ever tried to buy like beef bones, horrible. The best way that I like to conceptualize making stocks at home is always to just use the scraps and the leftovers of all the things that you normally buy. That's the way that it makes most sense in a routine. That's the way it makes most sense to use up an existing byproduct, okay, instead of going through something very new. Who's my favorite Amori character? Mine's Kale. Mine is Aubrey. I love Aubrey. I think Aubrey's the coolest. So that's my favorite Amori character for you. Okay, and everybody, while we're also here, while we also have a moment of time, hi, howdy, it's good to have all of you. If you haven't already joined the Discord, you can type in !Discord, or you can click on one of the tiles in the Twitch, because we have a lovely community, and I would love for it to be more active and to get more people in there. Second of all, everybody, if you like what you're watching, if you like what you see, you could, and if you have a little bit of extra money, you can support me on Patreon, !Patreon in the chat. Because the Patreon is the best way to directly financially support the show. My goal is to be able to do this full time one day. The Patreon doesn't unlock you any specific subscriber benefits, but if you have a little bit of extra change, the goal is to keep the stream free and available for everybody to watch. Okay, save the ones from chicken thighs and rotisserie? Absolutely, Gonzo. So you got it, right? We're using up the leftover bones. And also, if you have any questions about this dish or about anything else food related, it can be about food theory, food philosophy, or just like really, really technical questions that you might have about food, don't hesitate to ask me. Because remember, I am here to help you out. Also, thank you so much, Count JP, for this up. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, aggressively boiling, normally boiling like this would actually be bad form because you would be evaporating and losing out on some of the flavor. And while all of that is true, we were just trying to get the potatoes and the broccoli stems and the peas and all of that just turned into mush as fast as humanly possible. I want to get it boiled down. I want to get it cooked down. And then afterwards, I guess we could do the dill prep and we could do the prep for the garlic rolls, right? And it'll be great. It'll all work out. Let's stay in Flavor Town. I see. Okay, wonderful. So that's happening, that's going on. And now we gotta talk about next steps. So we're in a little bit of an in-between phase right now because I wanted to do most of the garlic rolls while after we've already completed the blending component. But I guess we could just jump into the prep now and get some of that down. The Discord is a good place full of good people. That's right, Serena. I don't think there's a better way to advertise it than that. Right? Okay, let's go ahead and slice up some dill, my friends, because the dill is going to be essential for both the soup as well as the garlic rolls. Now, normally in an Italian garlic knot or like in an Italian garlic bread, or American Italian one, you would be using parsley. But guess what? I don't have parsley, but I still got dill. And I have quite a bit of it that I need to go ahead and take up. Okay, going back into my soup. Again, I'm just stirring it up to make sure there's nothing stuck to the bottom, to make sure there's nothing stuck to the sides, and we're just boiling this down. And a good indication that it's boiled down, just see if the potato is falling apart. Okay, see if the potato's done, and see if the broccoli stems are done. The peas, more than finished by now. You can't really overcook it for something like a blended soup. Okay, dill. We took it off the stems. All we gotta do is slice it now. I accidentally got some garlic peels in there. That's weird. Okay, dill. Did I grow it? I did not, Gonzo. I don't grow any of my herbs yet. I would love to at some point in the future, but I've not gone to the habit yet of doing so. Okay, I have some lovely dill. This is going to be used to both finish the soup as well as go into the garlic rolls as a nice herbaceous component. And so we want this to be in a really, really, really fine mince, my friends. The most important thing that I can teach you guys over and over again, that I cannot repeat myself enough doing. Please slice it, do not chop it. Slicing and chopping are not interchangeable. This is a chop, my friends, a vertical motion, and it cleaves it and it crushes it and uses a minimal amount of the knife. You want a nice sharp knife, but above all else, when it comes to fresh herbs, when it comes to delicate cilantro and parsley and dill, you want to slice it with minimal vertical force. So slice it, slice it, slice it. Am I a Costco guy? Count JP can't say that I am because I live in New York City. And so because this is like the most like walkable of cities, my shopping is done 3 times a week by foot. So I don't really have the urge to drive out of my way, if I could drive, and get like a month's worth of food in bulk. Never do that. Okay, excellent. Dill, we got one pass through, but now we got to keep going, my friends. We got to keep going and very thinly slice them. So, soft jingo, while you can do it with scissors, and that's a nice fast way of doing it, if you think about it, the scissors, they don't do that good of a job of slicing it either, do they? Especially if you need to get like a really, really fine mince. At best, it just kind of crushes it once. If you're only going through it once, then it's okay, I guess. But in my case, I need like a very nicely minced dill. And so we have to be really, really gentle, and we have to keep on slicing, my friends. Going back to the soup, just seeing how that's going. Again, just until the broccoli and the potatoes are all set. Once the broccoli and the potatoes are set, once that's all done, then we'll be all good to go to begin the blending stage. Okay, scissors are great for green onions. So yeah, that's what I do. I use some kitchen shears for my scallions whenever I do a rice bowl. I eat rice bowls several times a week if I don't have any other leftovers to consume. I eat rice bowl with a couple of eggs, some chili oil on it, some scallions. That is my go-to lunch. Okay, grab the dill and keep slicing. Keep slicing, keep slicing, keep slicing. Again, everybody, my goal is to get really, really finely minced dill, but we're not crushing it. We're not destroying it. We're being super gentle. And we've used up all of my leftover dill without it going bad, without me needing to waste anything, right? That is the magic of cooking. That is the magic of cooking at home and repurposing an ingredient in a lot of different ways. I'm here to show you what all these different ingredients can do. I'm here to show you what all these different ingredients can end up being. Right? I feel like we can get very easily pigeonholed into doing things exactly the same way all the time. And so I just want to show a different route. I want to show you guys an alternative. So all of my dill, that's for later. Grab that and put that away. Set that aside. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and quickly wipe off my knife, and we're going to sample the potatoes, and we're going to sample the broccoli stems. Again, we want them soft. We want them so soft that they can blend up like their life depends on it. Okay? It's currently boiling temperature. It is super, super hot at the moment. I'm also going to put this away really quickly while I have a second of time. So I can see that the potatoes definitely still have some structure. They look like they're not falling apart. They look quite intact still, which can be okay. I just need to see whether or not they're soft. So the way that we judge that is we go by the biggest piece. We try to find the biggest piece that we possibly can, because if the biggest piece is done, then all of the smaller pieces should also in turn be done as well, right? So going in there, finding a big chunk of broccoli stem, finding a big chunk of potato as well, and now we're just going to go ahead and give it a little taste. Right? We're tasting for seasoning, we're tasting for spices for sure, but right now we're mostly just tasting for texture. Broccoli stems, still a little bit of firmness to them. Potato as well, 5 minutes, and then I think it should be good to go. definitely not enough salt, but also it's really difficult for us to actually effectively judge the flavor of this while everything is still so loose. Once it all gets blended, all the spices get mixed in, we'll have a much better understanding of the seasoning, right? But I know for certain we could do a little bit more salt to it now. That I can tell you with confidence. Excellent. And I'll also go ahead and taste my chicken broth. So yeah, everybody, you have to taste as you go, because sometimes you cut vegetables to different size. Sometimes they take longer to cook. Food is variable. Life has variables that change. So we have to adapt and we have to stay on top of it. And so the way that we do that, guys, is by tasting everything that we can as it goes. Right now, chicken stock, a little lacking in flavor, but that's okay, because as it cooks, my friends, as it cooks, as it reduces, as it boils down, all of the flavors end up concentrating in the pot, okay? That's all that we're doing. We're waiting for it to boil down. We're cooking it down. We're getting all of my veggies nice and soft, going in with another big pinch of salt, and mixing all of it in. This is all gonna blend, and it's all gonna get nice and homogeneous, and it's all gonna get nice and smooth. So give that a few minutes. Let that go. Let that do its thing. In the meantime, I am going to start preheating my oven to 425 degrees for the garlic rolls, for the garlic bread. 425. Get that going. Get that all set. And we can begin doing some of the prep for that after we're done blending. So, now that we're chilling out for a little bit, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's day going? I can take a second and put a few different things away. I got a few things that I think I need to clean up, right? Especially like my strainer here. Have a few things that can go ahead and just simply get tossed aside. Because remember, everybody, the best time to clean in the kitchen is when you have nothing else to do. Cleaning as you go is so important. I cannot stress it enough, okay? Because you don't want to end up with a dirty kitchen at the end of the day. You just want to keep up with everything. It'll make your life so much easier, I promise. Heating it up, 425 degrees, concentrating the stock, boiling it down. Will be delicious. Getting my broccoli stems nice and soft. Getting all my flavors developed, everything incorporated. Oh yeah. Excellent. A few more minutes. I'm getting a little antsy. I really want to blend it down now. Still chill pill? That's good to hear, Shy Chica. I'm good chef, but I went down a rabbit hole about cashew trees. Other than I'm normal. What about cashew trees? I'm unable to sit and chill without the kitchen looking as clean as before I cooked. That's right. Yeah, trash can cat mom. I have a really bad habit of like losing momentum when I cook. Like I will be doing things and then if I sit down for 1 second, it's over. Everything completely falls apart. So staying on top of it is, like when I tell people to do that, it's also like a reminder to myself to do that. I have like one cleaning task that's like inconvenient or annoying in some way, and I immediately become a little baby about it, and I don't want to do anything. Cleaning is an annoying logistical part of cooking, right? It is one of the biggest deterrents of having fun, because otherwise you could just make as much of a mess as you want. But that's okay. We'll still cope. We'll figure out a good way to, you know, fix it and to go about it. I guess in the meantime, the one thing I can do is I can get the blender ready. I'm going to have the blender nice and visible for you all so that you can watch that process happen. So I'll just get that ready, get that going for us. There you go. And I'm not going to be using an immersion blender today, although I theoretically could. I want to use my Vitamix because I want to get this unrealistically smooth. I want to get it aggressively smooth, in fact. So that's what I'm using instead. Okay, excellent. That's all set. That's all ready to go. I can keep my dill in the fridge in the meantime, again, just so that it doesn't wilt too much. And I believe now would be a really good time for us to once again give my vegetables a little bit of a taste. So all I'm looking for is just for my broccoli stems to be soft. All I'm looking for is for my potatoes to be soft. That's it. And as soon as it fulfills that, then we'll be all set. Hello, Lil Panda Man. Welcome on in. How you doing? Better. Broccoli stems do still have a little bit of crunch to them, so I'm not entirely sure what to do about that, other than continue to cook it more. Let's try the potato. Potato, fully saturated, fully softened, exactly where it needs to be. I do have a feeling that the broccoli stems are not going to get that much softer, even with extended cooking. Quite tasty though. Okay, I have officially decided, unilaterally, in fact, that this should be ready for blending. This should be ready. This should be good to go. I believe we can now begin transferring things into my lovely blender cup. Everybody, I'm using a Vitamix. If you want to blend hot things, you need two kinds of blenders. You either need an immersion blender or you need what is called an open top blender. Okay, this is an open top blender. This allows the steam to vent and escape. You really, above all else, you do not, I'm going to say this again, you do not want to use a Ninja Bullet or a NutriBullet to blend hot things. I need to hear a yes, chef, from everybody watching. Because it's enclosed, it builds up all of the steam, and then it can burst. It damages the plastic, it damages everything. You don't want to do it. So once again, immersion blenders or open top blenders. Those are your only options. Okay? I'm just going to get a sense of how hot this even is right now. How hot is it? What's the temperature on this thing? Quite is the answer. 195 past 200 degrees. Ideally for a Vitamix, you wouldn't really do things that are past 200 degrees like that, but it'll be fine. Your favorite professional chefs do it all the time. It's not been an issue for them. I'm sure it is at some point, actually. Everything I just said is quite untrue. So, I'm gonna grab a ladle. I'm gonna grab a ladle, and we're not gonna need all of that volume of liquid, okay? Ooh, and everybody, you can see how rich of a chicken stock that ended up being because the top of it began forming a skin of gelatin. Chef, you are my favorite pro chef. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Let's go into it, guys. Let's get all of the solids, every single one of the solids. I want all of the peas. I want all the broccoli. I want all the potatoes. I want it all. And I want it all, and I want it blended yesterday. Okay? So get it all in there any way that you can. Because all the other solids are going to be added in afterwards. Okay? I'm going to leave some of the stock in here because I don't need all of it for the blending process. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and finally, I have my favorite kitchen tool back. I have my spider. We're so back. And I'm going to be using my spider to fish out any and all solids out of the pot without getting too much of that stock. Guys, I missed my spider so much. I missed her so bad. My mom came to visit me and dropped her off finally. So I'm just very, very, very happy to have it back. I love my spider, one of my favorite kitchen tools of all time, and I struggled not having it for a little bit, for sure. Okay, almost all the veggies are in. Please, Lord, let me get the last few chunks. I am begging you. Why is it so difficult to find the last few chunks? I could have just theoretically strained everything out and added it in that way, but that would have been too easy. That would have been too convenient, okay? And I'm not about easy and convenient. I'm about doing things arbitrarily in difficult ways, sometimes. Okay, that is all of my solids for sure this time. Not a single one of them left behind. Hint, hint, please. Hoping, coping maybe. Okay. I need to do a little cleanup. I made a few drops on a few places. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just to get some of that fat out and blended into the soup as well, okay? Because we do have some fat here that we can just go ahead and just spoon right from the top and ensure that all of that gets blended into the soup as well. Okay, there you go. Lovely. Everybody, it is now going to be time for us to blend this in just one moment. I'm just letting it separately cool off for half a second. And putting that aside. And everybody, before we begin blending, I want to get a head start on cooking my potatoes, because the potatoes are going to, once again, take the most amount of time of all of my different vegetables. The potatoes, I don't want them to completely fall apart. So going back in with Mr. Potato, add him back inside, and we're going to let that one cook. So remember, half the potato we took out, and we took that out for viscosity reasons, so that we can get our soup to be nice and creamy and smooth. Okay? We added the rest of it in now, and we added the rest of it in so that we have some chunks of potato as well, so that we get both textures, so that we have both functions officially achieved. So, potatoes are going. We're about to blend it all up. Once the potatoes are almost done, we'll add in the broccoli, we'll add in the peas, we'll add in the kale as well, and then we'll add in the dill to be able to finish it all off. Okay? So, quickly, just wiping off my knife. And we'll taste for seasoning in just a moment as well. So, everybody with me now, please, and thank you. We're going to begin blending. As always, I have my handy dandy Vitamix, one of my favorite kitchen tools. You could use a NutriBullet, you just have to wait for all of the solids to cool down. Ideally, you would use an immersion blender, a little stick blender, because you get to go directly inside of the pot that way. But in my case, Vitamix. Next, where's my little tool? There's my little tool. Is that an abandoned jalapeno slice in your middle burner? Lol, Panda Man, really appreciate if you ask less questions. I'm messing with you. Yes, it is. It's a Serrano that I never took out. Whoops. Okay. Lowest speed. If you have variable speeds, okay, you want to start off on the lowest one and then slowly increment it and make sure it's nice and tight in the start. There you go. And now, my friends, just blend it down. Blend it down until it's nice and smooth. Start off on a slow speed, because if you start off on a high speed, it'll begin making a mess all over the place. So slowly increment that speed. Slowly increment that speed. Slowly increment it. Blend it till it's smooth. Blend it up, my friends. Blend it up, blend it up. Keep it going. You want a nice puree. You want it nice and smooth, nice and silky. Okay? I think it's all been blended. Chad has no idea how loud this is because Chef's microphone settings are perfect. Is it loud? Was that loud? I mean, my roommate probably knows it's loud, but was that loud for Twitch chat? I have actually no idea how loud the Vitamix is for Twitch chat. Okay, everybody, it's blended. It's ready to go. It wasn't too loud, really? That was freakishly loud. On my end, that is. Okay? And now, my friends, this is the base of the soup. This has all of the wine. This has all of my vegetables. All of my broccoli stems got officially used up. And remember, that was my main goal. That was my main purpose. Okay? Want to use that up before it all goes bad. And now we're just adding it all in. Adding it all back in. No cream. None of that needed. In this case, just mix it in. Just mix it in. And I'm going to get a little bit more of just the liquid out so that it can help to just pick up everything inside of the blender. There you go. It's going to be rich, it's going to be flavorful, and above all else, it's going to be delicious. Come on, a little bit more I'm missing, a little bit more I want to get out of there. There she is. There she goes. Beautiful. Creamy and rich and thick and viscous too. Exactly what we wanted, my friends. Okay, let's give that a little taste. Oh, I guess I didn't really show you it being poured out. Now, color at the moment doesn't look so appealing, but guess what? It's a vegetable soup, so who cares? It has the peas, it has the broccoli, has everything all blended in. Quite flavorful at this stage too. Definitely is gonna need a lot more salt than that. Quite tasty though, nonetheless. So, bunch of salt going in now. And now, guys, we just gotta get those potatoes nice and cooked. We gotta get the potatoes nice and soft. You don't want a super high heat on this though, because if you have a high heat, it's going to bubble and burst all over the place because of how viscous my soup has become. So, guys, all of those broccoli stems, all of those leftover broccoli stems, which normally get wasted, which normally get thrown away, or made into something unappealing. We have all of their nutrition, all of their flavor. We didn't waste a single little scrap of broccoli, and all of it has just been added into the soup instead. Right? Saving money, saving ingredients that we have, not wasting food. And let's give that one more taste. Pretty delicious, I have to say. And almost, because of the taste of the broccoli, there is a little bit to it that almost tastes like cheese. Just very naturally, which I think is quite fascinating. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for us to make some garlic bread. The oven is preheated, the oven's all ready to go. Last thing that we gotta do is just make our little paste. We have to make our paste, we have to combine everything. This has broccoli, this has potatoes, this has so much amazing stuff in it so far, but we're not done with it quite yet. Is everybody still watching? Everybody still paying attention? Another yes, chef, is usually in order when I ask that question. Please and thank you. I'm just quickly giving my blender a rinse. We're going to do a full wash of it as soon as the garlic is in the oven. The garlic rolls are in the oven. Okay? So, we gotta make the seasoning paste for it. It's gonna be butter, it's gonna be some salt, it's gonna be some dill, it's gonna be super simple, and we'll just go ahead and get that process now, my friends. My soup is going, my soup is gently bubbling. Remember, it's viscous. If it's too high, it'll splash all over the place as the air bubbles come up and they break the tension. So, into this little bowl, we're going to start off with measuring some garlic powder. So why are we even including garlic powder? Why is garlic powder, this, pre-ground component, why is this finding its way in here? Well, everybody, there's a very simple reason for that. And I'm using, for today, maybe like a teaspoon of garlic powder or so. This is half a tablespoon in total, so maybe like this much garlic, okay? And then some water. Well, everybody, it's because garlic powder and fresh garlic, they actually don't taste the same. They're quite different products. They taste different, they smell different, they have different pungencies, they have different aromas, okay? And so, a little bit of garlic powder, reconstituted in some water, develops a lot of flavor. Okay, so garlic powder with some water, perfect, ready to go. Next, we go in with all of the fresh garlic. The fresh garlic is the next addition, my friends. And just going in and quickly giving my soup a little stir, scraping down the sides, guys, scraping down the edges, making sure nothing is getting stuck at all. And we'll go back in there and we'll give it a little taste for the additional seasoning that it might need. Okay, garlic powder's inside. Next, how much fresh garlic? A lot of fresh garlic, I'm gonna say. An aggressive amount of fresh garlic even. So once again, just peeling up a few cloves. I don't know, maybe like 5 cloves for the amount of bread that I wanted to do here. 3 cloves. It is going to be pressed garlic. It's going to be put through the garlic press. And so actually we don't really need that much garlic. Maybe like 4 cloves I think is going to be the right amount for this. Yeah, 3 cloves, 4 cloves. I'm going to go ahead and put away one of them just in case, actually. Because I'd rather not my garlic bread turn out too pungent in an unpleasant way. Okay, so everybody, as usual, the way that we process the garlic, give it a little smash. Give it all a little smash so that we can go ahead and peel the skin off. Okay. All of them have been successfully given a little smash. My soup is going, my potatoes are softening up. Soon we'll add in the broccoli, we'll add in the kale, we'll add in the peas, we'll add in the dill. We'll add it all, my friends. Don't you worry. Garlic, officially peeled. We'll go in there and we'll cut off the butts. Butts have been officially cut off. And now into the garlic press we go. Take it, smash it, and push it all the way through, my friends. And rinse and repeat with each one. Last one. Push it all the way through. There you go. And yeah, I love using my garlic press. Mincing this by hand would have taken up so much more time, so much more energy. That did not need to go towards this at all. There you go. Excellent. And scrape all of that in. Get that all in there. Beautiful. Okay, garlic powder, freshly pressed garlic as well. All of that has officially made its way inside. Last but not least, dill, butter, salt, and pepper. Let's get it all ready. Let's get it all going. Some of my fresh dill from the fridge. In it all goes. They make garlic presses that have scrapers on the end. They're really cool. Oh, that is cool. That sounds useful. Yeah, because that is always like a problem with the garlic press. Okay? Not that garlic presses have any problems. I would never insinuate something like that. Black pepper. A bunch of black pepper. Okay? Nice big pinch of salt, especially if you're considering that my butter is not salted. So, quite a bit of salt. Next, we'll get some olive oil, and then the last thing that we're going to do is mix in the butter, guys. Get some nice softened butter happening. Not too loud, chef, your garlic press might hear you. Yeah, that's what I've been afraid of. Take it, mix it up, guys, mix up all of your seasonings, mix up the dill. This is almost ready to go, and the last addition is going to be the butter. But I'm going back to my soup first. I'm giving that a little mix just to, again, make sure that everything is in order. Nothing is drying, nothing is burning. Everything is cooking and looking the way that it should. And it is, and it's looking great. Excellent. Okay, butter. How much butter? I don't know, maybe like 4 tablespoons of butter. That's what I'm doing for today, roughly. Grab it. Cut it off and get it in there. Come on. Thank you. Maybe a little bit more butter than that. Something like that. And it's been softened. It's been sitting out. I got it all ready to go for today. And this is what's going to give us our garlic rolls. So if you didn't think that Hawaiian rolls were rich enough, well, think again, my friends. My King's Hawaiian rolls are going to be aggressively buttery. They're going to be aggressively garlicky. They're going to be aggressively delicious. So mix up your softened butter with your dill, olive oil, salt, pepper, dried garlic mixture. Mix it all up and get that ready to go. Look at it. Look at it. Look at this softened butter. Look at this herby, garlicky mixture. This is where it's at, guys. Give that a little taste. Like garlic. Like a lot of garlic. Which is exactly what we're going for, coincidentally. Okay. There you go. Everybody, we're just about all set. We're almost done. Last thing that we gotta do, slice it in half and butter it up. And then we'll be all ready to go. Does anybody have any questions about my garlic butter rolls? Wait a second. Did my camera die for my overshot? No, nobody told me. Ugh. 1 second. Okay, nobody let me know that the camera broke there. That's okay. I'm not upset. It's my responsibility. But somebody should have said something. Anyways. Just giving my soup a little stir once again. Making sure that's going well. Excellent. Okay. So, butter, dill, black pepper, olive oil, garlic powder, and fresh garlic. This is the buttery mixture of all of our dreams. I'm just making sure it's all ready to be spread out on some of my rolls. This butter by itself, just as it is, pretty damn delicious, I have to say. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get a tray ready for my rolls. On which they will all bake. Grab some aluminum foil to make my cleanup later on just that much easier. Almost out of aluminum foil. If somebody could remind me to buy some sometime soon, that would be amazing. Aluminum foil down. Last but not least, everybody, one of the most important components, the King's Hawaiian rolls themselves. They have now entered the battlefield. And so, let's figure out how many we're doing. I have this many left. I think I'm gonna do 6 of them. We're gonna do 6 and call it right there. And that will be plenty, for my purposes at least. Okay, 3, and, whoa, hello. I've never had them stick to the cardboard before. That's new. Okay, rolls. Now, the question is, how do we activate them? How do we get them ready to turn into delicious garlic rolls? Do we cut little X's and then spoon it inside and then some on top? I think we should do that. That's the method that we're doing today. Okay, everybody, each and every single one of my King's Hawaiian rolls, I'm just gonna grab them. We're gonna cut a little X shape into each of them. We're gonna cut it in quite deep, but not all the way through. Okay, just enough so that we can go ahead and expose the inside of each Hawaiian roll. Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. And there you go. Beautiful. Now, all I'm really gonna do here, I'm gonna open up each and every single one of them. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff them, and I'm gonna make sure that they're all completely saturated with that delicious garlic butter, my friends. Okay, going back to my soup, giving it a little stir, giving it a little mix around. Again, I am just ensuring that everything is cooking up as evenly as humanly possible. Okay, take them and let's spoon that filling inside, my friends. Take a nice big spoon of it. And remember, at the end of the day, it's a garlic roll. It's garlic bread. It's supposed to be a lot of butter. It's supposed to be moderately unhealthy. Okay? When you're eating garlic bread, the goal is to not make it healthy. When you're eating garlic bread, the goal is to just learn how to enjoy yourself. Okay? It's okay for food to be rich and dense. Just don't eat too much of it volume-wise. You can have a little bit of it. But it's okay for food to be rich. It's okay for food to be fatty. It's okay for food to be dense sometimes. Right? It's all okay, my friends. So, garlic butter. Tastes great. Smells great. Everything you've ever wanted and more. Big spoon of that into each of them. They're going to be greasy. They're going to be fatty. They're going to be rich. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want, my friends. So opening up each and every single one. There we go. Beautiful. Next one. Open it up, scoop it inside, press it all in there, spread it in each of the crevices that you've worked so hard to create. Get it all in there. Last one. Excellent. And anything else that's left, we're just going to go ahead and brush on top. This one seems like it wants to fall apart a little bit. That's okay. That happens to the best of us. I fall apart on occasion too. There you go. Set that. And now, bring them all in just so they don't fall apart as they cook too much. And just go in there and brush some of the tops that didn't get any butter before. Brush them. And guys, these are going to be greasy. These are going to be rich. They're going to be fatty. And they're going to be delicious. My garlic rolls ready to go into the oven. We're going to put them in there for about 12 minutes at 425 degrees, 10 minutes, and then we might give them a little flip halfway through, depending on how done they are. In she goes, setting a timer for 10 minutes. And that is my garlic bread, my friends. Dill, garlic, ground garlic, black pepper, salt, and of course, loads of butter. Does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? Let's go back into the soup. Let's mix up the soup, my friends. Let's mix it up. Make sure everything is cooking up nicely. There she is. Green, but rich and viscous and healthy and flavorful. Give that all a little taste. That has some flavor to it, my friends. That has some real proper depth. Nice and creamy. Nice and flavorful. You're getting all the broccoli stems in there. Tastes great. Does exactly what I needed to do. Okay, next few components, everybody. We're gonna do the kale and the peas in here, and we're gonna add in the kale and the peas, and we're going to get a little bit of cleaning done. Because remember, everybody, the best time to clean is yesterday, okay? Had a little fly in there for a second. So the broccoli is gonna be the last addition, because I want it to have peak texture. So we'll do kale first, and then the broccoli and the peas. The kale I want to get nice and soft though. So in she goes. And don't forget, the vegetables don't have a lot of salt in them. So you need to have your liquid, you need to have your soup component itself be quite heavily seasoned. So, while that's cooking, while that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of a few dishes, my friends. I have my knife to clean up, I have my garlic press to get rid of, and then we have also the blender to clean as well. When you cook at home, cleaning as you go is imperative. It is essential. You can't cook without cleaning. You'll just end up with a big, massive mess at the end of the day. I want to show you guys how easy cooking can be, and I'm trying to make cleaning dishes as realistic for you as possible. So welcome on in. Lovely to have you. Certified_boy lover she they. What an all-encompassing username. I feel like I know a lot about you now. The soup is going. The garlic is in the oven. The garlic bread. I don't know why I keep removing the bread in the phrase garlic bread. Gonna go ahead and put away a few dishes. And then we'll go and just do the rest of the cleaning that we need for today. It's gonna take about 10 minutes in total in the oven. And then we should be all set. Get my King's Hawaiian rolls put away. So yeah, today, nothing that adventurous. I feel like this is all stuff that we typically make on stream. I just wanted to continue to show up and show off rather how many different vegetables that we can use up at once. How do we effectively use them all at once? Right, that sort of thing. There she is. That's my beautiful soup. All cooking along. And it's almost inspired by like a caldo verde, which is a Portuguese stew that uses potatoes and kale, and also has like some sausage in it. But like I do like love those blended soups with like potatoes and kale inside of it. It feels so hearty and it feels so delicious. Okay. So everybody, the best way to clean your blender, first of all, you do it immediately. Don't let the stuff on the blender dry. It will become impossible to clean up afterwards. So I have my blender. I'm gonna fill it up with some warm soapy water. We're gonna first rinse it out though. And this way, by using the blender itself, we don't actually need to use a sponge. We don't need to use a brush. We don't have to do anything like that. The blender is going to take care of everything for us. But that only works, guys, if you blend and clean it immediately after blending. Do not let your blender dry. You will not thank yourself for doing that. It will be a mess, it'll become impossible to clean, and it'll become a chore. So, halfway full, with some nice hot water, fill it up with some soap, and just get it nice and blended, nice and cleaned up, rather. halfway full with soapy water. Completed. And I'm just adding in the other components, the other parts. Okay? And just blend it. Blend it to clean it up, guys. That's all. There you go. Start off on a low speed. And once again, just increase it incrementally, ever so slightly, until it's all done. Actually, about 5 minutes in, I think this would not be a bad time for us to go ahead and flip the garlic rolls, but we can give it a shot in a second. The blender does all the work for you guys. I'm so cute. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, that looks pretty good, I have to say. Give that a second. Let that blend up. We're just cleaning it off, my friends. That's all that's happening. Kale is getting nice and tender, nice and soft. Okay? And that's it. That's all the cleaning that the blender needs. That is why you clean using the motor. You don't want to wait for it to dry. You don't want to wait for it to use the sponge. It's so much more difficult getting under the blender that way. Do it now. Do it while it's wet. Don't wait for it to dry up, my friends. Chef, the measurement köftesi is perfect. Trash Can Cat Mom, I'm really glad that you like it because I really liked it too. Okay? So, guess what? As for the rolls, we can go in there and just flip them all individually. So, I'll take them out of the oven, show you guys what they're looking like right now. They're getting nice and crispy. They're getting nice and golden. All the butter inside has gotten melty and delicious. Right? Here you go. And so all that we're going to do, my friends, is just take them and flip them over on themselves. Okay, and this is just going to ensure that the bottoms get crispy as well and not just soggy. So take them and flip them. Probably not with your hands, but that's what I'm doing here because I don't have another device ready to go for me. Ugh, buttery and quite hot at the moment too. Come here, fine. That's good. That's really good. Damn. Flip them over for just a few more minutes just to get all sides of it nice and browned. Okay? And now, guys, we can go in with the broccoli and the peas. The broccoli and the peas can go in now at this stage in the cooking process. Slightly turn up that heat and mix them all in. And that is the basis of our stew. Peas, broccoli, kale, all of it is inside now. And now we just want to get it all gently cooked. That's a very healthy stew. It is full of greens. What would I use to flip the rolls besides hand, chef? The answer is probably tongs. Or a mixture of a tong and a spatula, because tongs by themselves, they might squish the bread a little bit too much. So that's what you would do. Okay, everybody, once again, in the interest of continuing to stay clean and organized, we're going to clean and organize. I'm going to continue to get rid of all the dishes that I do not need anymore. I'm going to continue just to put a few things away. And we are now approaching the end of it all. The soup is almost done. We just got to get the broccoli and the peas cooked through at this stage. Then after they're cooked, we'll add in the dill to finish off this lovely soup. We're going to need some more salt though, for sure. Get the salt in there, mix it up. Perfect. That is a lovely looking soup, isn't it? Give that another little taste. Vegetal, very vegetable heavy, very vegetable forward, of course. Creamy, rich, delicious, and it'll be even better with a garlic roll. Some garlic bread to eat it with. Ooh. It is pretty impressive how much flavor broccoli stems have by themselves, even without the addition of extra cheese or anything. Right. Okay, I am all done cleaning up my blender, so all I gotta do is just rinse all this water out. Just rinse it out, be done with it, get it out of here, get it out of sight, and get it out of mind. Okay, lovely. Almost done. We're in the final stretches, my friends. The garlic bread is just about ready to come out of the oven. In fact, I'm gonna say that it is now. You don't wanna push it too far. Bread can easily burn, but I don't have to tell you that. Oh, everybody, we have some buttery, some golden, some really, really nice, crispy, delicious garlic bread. It's all done. It's all set. It's all ready to go for today. That is perfect. And it's already beeping at me. Enough. Oh, guys, this garlic bread, pretty damn good. It's soft, it's warm, it's garlicky, it's salty, it's fluffy. It's got everything in it that you could possibly desire. My broccoli and peas are cooking through. They're doing the job. And we're almost done, my friends. Just take that over the finish line, then we'll be all set to just plate. We'll be able to plate, and then we'll be able to enjoy. Ooh, these garlic rolls, that's some serious business. Look at these things. Buttery, warm, golden, crispy. Exactly what I was looking for. I cut a little bit too deep in some of them, so some of them are falling apart. But that took almost no time to throw together. Let's finish off the stew now, my friends. Let's finish it off with the addition of all of that dill. All that dill goes in. It's all gonna get mixed in, and we'll let it steep for a moment to really contribute its flavor into the stew. Add it in, mix it up. Now this is a vibrant green stew that we have. Okay. Okay, everybody, let's give that one more taste, and I think we'll be all done. I think we'll be all set. Give that a little taste. A little bit more salt still. Yeah, definitely a little bit more salt, just to be able to adjust, and then we'll be all finished. We'll be able to play, we'll be able to enjoy, and then we'll get out of here. Is everybody still watching? I need to hear another yes, chef. Please and thank you. Stir it up, stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. Mix it up. Give it another taste. Delicious soup. That is a really good soup. Okay? That's all done. That's all ready to go. It is time for us to plate, my friends. So, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a nice little plate, a nice little bowl, and then we'll be all set. The dill is in there, the dill is steeped in, the kale, the broccoli, it has it all. There you go. Grab my ladle, fill it up, and then we'll be all set. Ooh, that is rich, that is delicious, and that is viscous. Everybody, that is my lovely soup. And we're going to go ahead and grab 2 of my garlic rolls to throw in alongside that. We're all done. We're all set. We've completed everything that we needed to do today, and now we're going to have one last recap session. So, everybody, thank you all for being with me. I need one more yes, chef from absolutely everybody, from every last person that is here. If you've said nothing all day, now's your one time to say yes. Okay? So, we made a little vegetable soup, and we made some garlic rolls. I had leftover dill, I had leftover broccoli stems. We cut up the broccoli stems. We sauteed it with some onions and olive oil. We took the florets, we added it in later. We cooked in some peas, some white wine, some spices, okay? We added in some potato to blend in, and potato later on for some chunks. We have chunks of broccoli, chunks of kale, chunks of potato, chunks of dill, chunks of pea. I wanted something to use up all of my leftover produce, and this did exactly that. It's a little spicy, it's a little flavorful, it's creamy, it's rich, and above all else, it's super smooth. No dairy, by the way, and you can achieve this kind of viscosity out of your blend soups, even with no dairy, even with no cream at all. We made some homemade chicken stock out of some leftover chicken bones, and then guys, we made these little garlic breads. Look at that color, look at the toast on him. Some leftover King's Hawaiian rolls with butter, with dill, with olive oil, with some garlic powder, fresh garlic, and black pepper. So, I am going to go ahead and have a little bite of the garlic bread just by itself. To die for. Oh. King's Hawaiian rolls, man. They're so good. And then into the soup. Oh, that garlic bread is nice. It's rich, it is soft, it is fatty, it is fluffy. Soup is creamy, full of vegetables. Just really simple home cooking above all else. Simple, delicious, economical, making the most out of leftovers. That's right. Everybody, we're done. That's it. That's all I got for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to be back with a fresh week of the cooking show Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, every Wednesday, every Friday, every Sunday, 5 p.m. EDT. If you'd like to support me, Patreon is the best way to go ahead and do so. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for supporting the show, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.